What's up guys, Monday fun day, and we're going to be shooting a vlog today talking about putting on the plow. Shooting some video on hooking up the plow, how it works with the Boss plow. And you might be asking, why do I need to hook up the plow and show a video to you guys? Well, as you guys can see, it's snowing out and I don't have my plow hooked up because I went out of town for 3 days and we were literally not supposed to get any snow. And now we have a special weather statement where we might get 2 to 4 inches, at least 3 to 5 in some areas, and some places locally up to 6 inches. And I don't have my plow hooked up. So let's go put that on and let me show you guys how we do that. All right, so first things first, we have to hook up the plow to the truck so we can go plow snow, obviously. Of course, my cable has been laying on the ground, which it shouldn't have been, but let's dust this thing off really quick and then let's hook up the plow to the truck. Alright, so as you guys can imagine, I just like to wipe some of it off just to, kind of clean it up so I can see where I'm working. Now these pins right here connect to the truck. Some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't. And it's actually a really simple system to set these up. It's a lot easier than some other plows. Now I'm not saying it's the best plow setup for attaching a plow to a vehicle, but they are pretty good, the Boss setup. So right here you have your 2 guides that are going to line up, so that way if the truck is off a little bit, it can kind of roll into there to clamp back in. And all we're really going to do with this is we're going to flip these both in to the lock position. So that way, once the holes line up, as you guys can see, this peg right here is going to clip right in all the way across, and that is when the truck is linked in there. There's a hole cut out obviously on the truck over there for the Boss mount. So as soon as it gets close, the spring is going to release that peg once it's in there, and then this whole bolt is just going to shoot right in. And then this is basically your lock and your safety to make sure that it is locked up. After that, we'll connect our wiring harnesses to power the plow, and really simply, this lever right here, this button, will be pulling this up, and that is going to use the power of the truck and the power of the plow to push back on it and basically make sure that these 2 pegs line up and they click into place. I know it sounds like a lot, but let's show you how it works. Now, as you guys can imagine, one thing that I always do is I like to have somebody here spotting me so I can tell that these mounts are exactly onto the ones that I have on the truck, but unfortunately nobody's here with me that can come outside, so I am stuck lining it up on my own. I'm coming in a little bit of an angle. I gotta back up again and shimmy it and make sure we're lining it up just right. I wish the Boss plow mounts were a little wider, but what can you do? Alright, so as you guys might be able to tell, I know it's a little tough, but this right here is going to be our mount for the truck and the plow, and it's got to go right into here. You almost got to line it up as exactly as you guys can see. Right here, same thing, we got our mount. It's going to be going onto the truck and vice versa. So all I got to do is push forward, and hopefully we got about a foot to close on the gap, and we can install the plow. Alright guys, so I'm not sure if you can tell, but let me try to squeeze the DSLR in between here. You guys might be able to tell right here that I am connected to the mount, but I'm a little to the side. Similarly, this one right here, I'm connected, but I'm a little bit more into the middle. And you're like, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, just being off a millimeter or 2, or even a 1/4 inch, that this right here, the truck is banking a little bit to the left. So what I'm gonna do is push the plow forward while turning the steering wheel right, and that way we're going to try to bring this one a little bit more even with the rest of the plow. Again, you have to be very exact when lining these up. Every horror story you hear is kind of true. Now, it's not really that hard to line these up and to do it if you have help, but on your own, you might have to go back and forth a handful of times just to make sure you line them up as good as you can. But I should be able to, as long as I hook up my power and I hit my switch, I should be able to lean the plow back, and it should be able to clamp on both. I just like to make sure that it's not a lot of extra work to line that up and make sure they're exactly as even as possible. That way I don't have to go back and forth 10 times, and I can just go back and forth once or twice. And of course, now I'm a little opposite, so let's do it again and just make sure that we're even out the truck and pushing it forward. All right, now the fun stuff. So what we're going to be doing is, right here, I've got my power cables tucked away. Kind of a pain in the butt. We got two. Nice and tucked away. So we're going to be connecting those to this guy right here. Make sure you keep these well greased, guys. My plow dealer told me to keep these greased big time. You don't want any corroding or corrosion in there at all. So once we have these connected, as you guys can imagine, we'll have power to the plow. When you drop the plow, it has to be in float mode. Maybe I'll do another video for that at another time. But as you can imagine, once the plow is connected and we have power, this button right here, we're going to flick up. And this is going to move the hydraulic arm basically backwards and have these two mounts connect to the truck. After that, we'll swing both hooks in, we'll have our safeties ready to go, and the plow should be connected. Now the last thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have your hooks faced in for the lock position on both sides. And that way, these springs are on tension with the basically the bolt that's going to punch through, and that bolt is going to connect to the mount on the truck and also through the plow, and that's how they're going to be secured. And once you basically push into it, both of them these springs will pop up, both bolts will kind of zip in, and then we're just going to make sure everything is locked and loaded and all secure. And just like that, first time, first take, try to get in here as much as I can, guys. So you can see that this hook zipped through, and now the bolt right here is connected all the way through the plow mount. On this side, you can feel that the bolt came all the way through. Not sure if you guys can see all the way over there, but see how the bolt came through all the way. Now again, I know it takes a few extra seconds to make sure things are lined up, and you know what, I also got lucky a little bit, let's just be honest, but you want to make sure that your truck is exactly lined up. Some guys actually have like a white sticker that they'll put on the hood, and they'll also put like a white piece of tape on their lights or on the plow, and that basically helps you align it as best you can while looking at the front of the window while you're inside the truck. But if you're off a millimeter or two, or here's another one, the ground is uneven, always drop your plow on the most even surface you can or you can find, or make sure you have wood blocks and you know it's stacking up correctly. But you want to make sure that you're double, triple checking. That way, when you start moving that plow or you ram into it, you know, you don't want to have it shift an inch or two on concrete or anything like that. Now it's uneven, and that's a whole nother fiasco. But first time, lined it all up. I am pretty proud of myself. Since I haven't had the plow on for about 2 weeks. But let me show you guys just a few more close-ups. All right, as you guys can see, same thing on this side. We have the locking mechanism all the way in, and that kind of auto locks once you install it. This right here, this red little clamp, is kind of like a safety for these guys. So this peg can't come out. But both sides, you always want to do like a physical check, are synced. They're both locked and loaded. We got our switch, like I was showing you guys, a little bit more of an up-close version so you guys can see what I was talking about. Now again, to hook up the plow or disconnect it, you have to have it down on that controller so it's in float mode. We've got all of our cables hooked up and out of the way. Can't really do too much with all this. It doesn't really, this whole part of the plow doesn't move at all, so you never really have to worry about anything getting smashed or pinched. But I will say, when you do hook up your plow, keep an arm's length away, because this whole arm, this whole control system that comes back, you don't want to get pinched or anything stupid or anything crazy in between all that. So please exercise extreme caution when you're working around hydraulic type equipment. All right, so let's go through our safety check. I know I'm a little redundant on things, but you always like to make sure that you bring the plow up, do your left, right, and make sure that everything is working accordingly. By the way, a lot of you guys had asked a question, totally unrelated but kind of related to the plow. As you guys can see right here, there's no bolts on the cutting edge. So technically, this piece right here on a brand new plow is, yes, it's a cutting edge, it's a cutting guard, but when you install a new cutting edge, you're going to be using these bolts on the plow. So this whole piece is going to get scrapped. a lot of you guys are asking why there are empty holes for potential bolts. And my friend Mike, who just got his blade replaced, he was one of the early adopters of the DXT plow. He said that now he has bolts going through here based on that new cutting edge. So initially, this piece right here, I'm not sure what they call it. Obviously, it is a cutting edge, but once you replace it, you will be sticking bolts through there and mounting it to the plow for whatever reason. Initially, the way that this is set up, you do not need the bolts. So just to clarify that, obviously the DXT has only been out for 3 or 4 years, so me and my friend Mike were talking. It seems like the first round of people are starting to finally replace their cutting edge after 2, 3, 4 years. And so he was just saying that all the bolts are now filled up with how it mounts to the plow. A very popular question a lot of you guys had working with the Boss DXT plow. All right guys, she's in business. She's ready to rock and roll. Got the plow hooked up, looking fresh. One thing I'll tell you guys is that inside the truck, a lot of you guys have been asking, the SL3 lighting system will override with the switch inside the cab. The lights in general, right here is actually the light bulb on the 2017s, not the C channel. That's just like an accent lighting, but the actual headlight right inside, once you're plowing, most likely you're not going to be able to plow with it because it's not going to be able to shoot through the plow. The plow is going to be in the way, obviously. So the SL3 lighting system is going to override. There's a switch. Make sure you always toggle your switch on, so that way you're running these lights for your nighttime lights versus on my truck, for example, and probably a lot of your guys' vehicles, your headlamps, which aren't going to be able to see through the plow, obviously. So anyway guys, the truck is ready to roll. Got to grab my snow blowers really quick, and we're going to get thunder out there making some money doing snow. All right guys, hopefully you enjoyed this one. Hopefully the footage all turned out for you guys. It is snowing. We got like 1 inch per hour snowfall rates coming in through here, and it's getting kind of thick. I'd say there's already a good 2 inches out here, man. So I got to get out there, make my runs about 3, 4 o'clock. Not sure if this video is posting today, Tuesday, Wednesday, but either which way, appreciate the time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed learning how to set up a Boss DXT plow. If you guys enjoyed this one, definitely shoot it a big thumbs up. Maybe share it with somebody who is working with plows. Maybe they can benefit from this video. If you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. We're always doing videos like this to help you guys learn how to do lawn care, landscaping, snow removal, and all that jazz. Appreciate the support if you guys hit that like button as well. And guys, we'll catch you up on the next one. Thanks. Bye-bye.